Welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage to voice your opinions and thoughts. This is ETNA's special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center on every industry and area that matters to you. Tonight on Direct Connect, a panel of experts will answer your questions, and later on the show, we'll bring you the story of wedding Wishlist. That's on our Small Giant segment. So Shanta, Sunil, thank you very much for being here tonight. We've got a whole bunch of questions across industries, and who better than to have the two of you here in studio tonight to answer all of those questions. So let's dive right in then to our first query tonight that's coming to us from Tarun Sharma. Tarun has tweeted at us. You can tweet either at me personally, Sunanda_J, or LOT_ET now. That's our official handle if you have any questions for us. Tarun's question tonight, he says he's facing promotional problems due to the presence of companies like himself, competition essentially in the market. He wants to know how to reach his target audience and talk about his USP. He also wants to know how to promote a company which is in the news and online digital space. So let's break it up for an MSME when it comes to competition. And competition across industries, of course, and then any insights you all might have, which I also would be interested in knowing about the news and online digital space that you can share.
See, in terms of his USP, obviously, what it calls for is define precisely your value proposition. Yeah. It has to be also have a differentiating factor that you are different, whether the pricing wise, features wise, product wise, compatibility wise, and the promises and the commitment you're going to make to the customer which you lived through. So that is a kind of a USP he has to make. Once he has identified the target audience, he needs to identify the channel through which he can reach to that kind of audience.
Sure.
So whether the channel could be online, it could be offline, or he can run some campaigns, target to specific audience. That is where he can create a differentiation and compete in the marketplace.
Okay. So have differentiated content with which you're using to talk to your
so for the online media, obviously, you need to create a content which is very, very relevant to the target audience. At the same time, refresh it, so that there is a stickiness of customers keeping again and again coming back to your online media or a news media channel. Otherwise, it becomes a very monotonous. If he is not refreshing the content, it also needs to be very educative, informative, as well as add value to the audience of that particular segment.
Sure.
I don't know which industry he is in or what is the product that he or service that he is selling, but I think the entire media markets are changing from print, broadcast to online, and some companies are able to make that transition, some companies are not able to make that transition. And as Sunil was saying, that when it comes to online, you could, in the print media, you could have ads running for 30 years and still not worry about it. But on the online medium, you probably need to change your communication or the message probably less than every 30 days. So you have to do things dynamically as things change, and thereby keep the audience interested.
And context specific also.
Yes.
All right. So Tarun, the suggestion for you is to keep it relevant, to keep constantly refreshing the kind of content you have, and to ensure that it is educative as you're trying to build a USP for yourself in this space. All right, let's take in our next question. This one is coming to us from D. Sachin. Sachin has sent us this email to say that he provides shared CFO services to small and medium enterprises in the areas of strategy, accounting, reporting, and regulatory compliance. His question tonight for our experts is that banks are reluctant to finance SMEs under the CGT MSE scheme, which is essentially collateral-free loans. He says, how does one take this up with banks? What is the mandate given to the banks for such funding? He wants to know for SMEs, which are service companies, huge working capital gets blocked due to TDS deducted by clients and the payment of GST to the government on invoices raised but not yet paid. What can we do to minimize the blocking of such capital?
Sure. So there are two questions essentially. One is how to get banks to give out these CGT SME loans. And yes, banks are reluctant to give them. So probably the banks need to be educated that when they give these loans, the return of the principal is guaranteed by the insurance that the bank takes. And obviously that message has not got far away. So he should actually educate himself about the CGT SME scheme and then start educating the relevant bank branches.
Okay.
Well, other suggestion I would suggest is that he should optimize his work processes. He should develop a good relationship with the client. At the same time, revise his payment terms with the existing client, because that keeps on changing, you know. So you need to be very clear in terms of optimizing your pricing such a way so that you don't suffer loss or you don't block your capital and you're not able to recover from your customer. So try to be very clear in terms of optimizing your pricing and terms with your end products or services.
So there is nothing much that you can do about
Exactly.
TDS, right? These
Or
are
the GST,
or
of course.
GST.
Yeah.
You have to pay.
You have to embrace it. And
Yeah. The only thing that he could do is to tell, you know, sensitize his clients about the fact that he has to block his capital if the payments are not received.
All right. So, in this scenario, Sachin, of course, TDS as well as GST is not something that MSMEs or any companies can do away with, but look at then the options, how you're able to ensure you have enough capital for, you know, your working capital requirements, etc. Thanks very much for sending us that email, Sachin. Our next query is coming to us from Mukesh Kaura. Mukesh has sent us this question on our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now, where you can also send us your questions. Mukesh says he manufactures cargo loss control, vessel safety and pollution inspection and draft bunkers, etc. His question tonight is that he finds the payment terms specified in the contracts are not adhered to by the purchaser. In the oil and gas sector in India, he says they operate in the public sector space. Unfortunately, customers do not follow their own payment terms, and there's no mechanism available with us to ensure that they follow their payment terms. His question that he sent in tonight to our experts is that is there a mechanism to ensure the regularity as well as the smooth flow of payments, or if not, what are the other means to get the job done?
Yeah, you know, first of all, this non-payment issue, he need to have his contract very clearly documented and accepted by the customer, like a purchase order. And once it is done that, he should also specify the terms and conditions. If his payments are getting delayed, what are the penalties and interest clauses. Having said that, you know, it is contract. If the contract is in place, the customers are legally liable to pay. Obviously,
but given that he is with the public sector largely.
So the issue is obviously now there is a small amount of like government effort in terms of protecting the MSMEs. So there is a MSME Act also now, Delayed Payment Act, which is 2006, where automatically it will be qualified for interest and penalty if the public sector or a large corporates are not paying. Obviously, the other course will be to a legal course, which I don't advise him to go for that. But yes, he should put those things in place in terms of documenting, at the same time putting the right kind of a clauses, and in case if required, invoking those MSMEs Act of delayed payment for the customers.
Okay, and this will be advisable even for a public sector company, which in any case is going to take time.
Yeah, because you know, as a statutory requirement, whether public sector or a corporate, they have to declare in their annual report the payment due to MSMEs. So they cannot escape that kind of a compliance issue. So it has to be cleared. Any payment of MSME has to be cleared before they clear it to large customers, suppliers payments.
Sure. All right. So that's in response to your question, Mukesh, and all the very best in enforcing these payments with your customers. Our next query is an email that's coming to us from Somnath Chatterjee. Somnath says he's an e-commerce platform where they bring in handcrafted canvases filled with vibrant colors made of oil, water, etc. His question tonight to the panel is, what are the possibilities of online wholesale market? Given that, of course, they also work in the offline retail market, and he wants to know how the two can work side by side, particularly for a product like this, which is quite niche. Online, of course, is where you should be looking at, but also his question is more on achieving scale.
See, this is a typical now trend which is happening. There are a lot of companies experimenting the what they call it O2O, online to offline. So these two channels basically should complement each other rather than competing each other. So I would suggest that, you know, that both should coexist for his model. That is what he wanted, where he can serve the customer through online for various product information and blah 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 in terms of even payment, but the delivery can happen through an offline stores. He can have a store pickup model. He can have, for example, in a lot of villages now there are small customers. You know, they are going to kiosk kind of thing where a shopkeeper has an online kind of a terminal, he selects it, select the product which the customer wants and get it delivered after 3 days into the same store. So again, that combination of offline and online model is working, and he can experiment with that for his products and services. Yeah.
Sure, okay.
Right. So, you know, I am assuming that he is dealing with paintings because it says canvases, handcrafted canvases filled with vibrant colors. So, I am assuming paintings. So, both these models actually coexist today, where there are online marketplaces where you can catalog your paintings, and there are galleries where you have some of them displayed and he should actually study those models and how they are working, and they are working in tandem with each other. The gallery actually works with the online store and it keeps a certain amount of inventory in the store itself.
Sure.
So that is something that he should study. So it's already in vogue.
Okay. So, Somnath, it's already in practice in terms of both the online as well as the offline model, especially for a business like yours. So, do take a look at that. On that note, we've run out of time. Sushanta, Sunil, thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Time for a break. When we come back on Small Giants, we'll feature wedding wish list. Do stay tuned. You're back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight on Small Giants, we're featuring Wedding Wish List. India celebrates as many as 10 million weddings per year, and the happy couple receiving a pile of undesired gifts is not an uncommon scenario. Chennai-based startup Wedding Wishlist is attempting to address this problem by creating an online wedding gift registry that empowers couples to create and curate a social wish list that caters to their special day. Ansha Banerjee has more.
How often have you heard a newly married couple complain about the pile of useless gifts they receive? From wall clocks to photo frames and flower vases, these are either re-gifted or stowed away in the loft. Comprehending the need between the gifts received and the gifts desired, this Chennai-born startup decided to bridge the gap with Wedding Wishlist, a gifting portal which will include everything couples desire as gifts, a new way for prospective couples to receive everything they need to start their new home.
Every day in India, thousands of newly married couples get unnecessary gifts at their nuptials. You at Wedding Wishlist, however, managed to bridge that gap between the gifts required and the gifts received. Talk to us about the journey behind setting up Wedding Wishlist.
So when we moved to India 10, 12 years ago, I spoke to a number of people, and I could see, including in my own wedding, that a lot of the gifts that are given at weddings are not, at best ornamental, at worst recycled. And that basically is the inspiration for Wedding Wishlist. It is a bridge between guests and the couple. Why it is relevant for the couple is obvious. What we found since we started this is that for guests as well, it's a huge convenience to actually know what the couple wants, to be able to gift something to the couple that's going to be part of their married life. It is actually the ultimate compliment to a guest. Every guest wants to know that they've given the couple something that they are going to use.
Kanika, this is a fairly fresh concept for the big fat Indian wedding market. So we often see services like this abroad. So do you have competition in India yet? And if yes, then what are your survival strategies?
It's very popular in the West. So in the West, if you take for instance just the US, there is no less than 100 wedding gift registries in India, of which many are flourishing. So I don't think that this is a case of one company. It's a one company sort of situation. I actually think, number one, competition is a good thing, because we are actually at a stage where we are really creating the market. We're working at the concept level. All of our marketing is very conceptual, where we are trying to educate couples about why they should have a wedding wish list, how it is not taboo, because it does sometimes challenge certain cultural norms that we have in India. So I think competition is not necessarily a bad thing. That said, we don't really have that much competition. We were the first to launch. There's been some activity since in this space, and I think that that's very good. We're not at a point where we're thinking, you know, survival strategies. As far as what are we doing to stay ahead, we've really taken the approach of how do we add more and more value to the couple. So really going from being a wedding gift registry only to a platform where we not only offer the couple the ability to create their gift wish list, but also they can create their wedding website, which is now becoming more and more the norm.
The online wedding gift market in India remains very unorganized and fragmented. Wedding wish list caters to the growing population of young prospective couples. Talk to us about your USP and revenue model.
In terms of the revenue model, Wedding Wishlist is set up as a marketplace. So all of our services that I mentioned just now, the gift registry, the website, the e-invite, the vendors all over India, the content, it is all free of charge to the couple. So our revenue model is really seller centric. So we identify seller partners, and as we do tie-ups, there is a partnership in place. As far as the USP goes, since Wedding Wishlist started last year, that is in 2016, we've really focused on listening. We've done a lot of listening to our couples, and I think weddingwishlist.com has really evolved in response to what we are hearing from our couples. So when we initially launched, it was just a gift registry. Then over time, we saw that couples wanted to embed their gift registry inside a wedding website, and that's how we delivered the wedding website.
I want to know finances. Talk to us about your funding journey. What were the initial challenges like in putting the first pieces of the project together, since you've always been a self-funded team, which is definitely no small feat?
So we have, used our funds wisely. We have not been super extravagant. That said, we did, when we started developing Wedding Wishlist, we raised a seed round with some of our existing clients, their friends, their referrals. Small seed round is what we raised last year, and otherwise, in addition to that, we try to make it work within the two websites, and it's worked out so far. In terms of marketing, our biggest challenge has actually been marketing a new concept. So Wedding Wishlist is not just a startup, it's also a new concept that we're bringing to India. And so what that means is that we have to speak to our TG, and I would say our biggest challenge is that it is easiest to sell the idea of Wedding Wishlist and a gift registry after a couple is married, and when they're opening, gift after gift of recycled and things that they don't know what to do with. But by that time, it's too late. They can no longer have a gift registry unless they do it for their anniversary. So I feel like Bangalore, Chennai has really been more receptive for a concept like Wedding Wishlist.
At Wedding Wishlist, a 20-member team takes care of technology, design, merchandising and customer relationship. Talk to us about your secret recipe of hiring the right talent, since this job requires handcrafted execution.
The secret recipe for us is really just that Wedding Wishlist is a very unusual place to work. We have, I would say, we look for over and above, the obvious, which is the right background, smarts. We really look for passion. We look for sincerity, and I would say the team that we have in place is really very sincere, very passionate, and really believes in the concept.
The concept of a wedding registry is picking up pan-India with a new experience for all newly married couples. What are the next 5 years looking like for you, Kanika?
My dream is that just like when a couple gets engaged and the wedding date is set, there are certain things you must do. Book the venue, find your clothes, select your card, your wedding invite, makeup, etc., etc. Similar to that, we would love for the couple to think also about their gift registry. So not just the wedding, but also the marriage. What do you want in your post-married life, in your home, as your memories? Because that's really what a registry is. It is what memories you want in your home, and that is what your guests are giving you. So to allow that to be a part of your life, that is the first thing. The second thing, of course, is we are fundamentally a tech company. So we'd like for Wedding Wishlist to be a technology platform that becomes the tech partner for the couple in all of their tech needs. So whether it is, their website, their e-invite, their vendor needs, their gift registry, all of this can be done, whether it's their logistics as well, the logistics of guest hosting and hospitality can all be done on the platform.
Wedding Wishlist has partnered with 30 e-commerce and retail outfits who sell products and services like kitchen appliances, furnitures and holiday packages. Guests can order from a list curated for newlywed couples, following which the gifts are delivered anywhere in the country. The startup is also looking towards collaborating with charitable institutions where couples who do not wish to accept gifts have an opportunity to encourage their guests to donate towards a charitable cause close to their heart.
Completely out of time on this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. If you have anything that you want to say to us, any feedback, any questions, any comments, you can always email us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. On social media, tweet at me at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET now. Our Facebook page is Leaders of Tomorrow on ET now. You can also call us on that number you see on your screen. We love having your questions coming to us, so do keep sending those in. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.